Does a company need to prove it cannot pay its debts before insolvency proceedings begin? Or is it the existence of default enough? In a significant clarification, the Supreme Court of India has ruled that while admitting an insolvency plea, the National Company Law Tribunal does not need to examine whether the company is actually unable to pay its debts. It only needs to determine whether a default has occurred. Let us break down. Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel. This presentation is brought to you by Synergy Business Advisors Noida, your trusted business mitra. Background: under the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code, when a company fails to repay its debt, the creditor can file an application before the National Company Law Tribunal to initiate insolvency proceedings. At the admission stage, the tribunal has to decide whether to admit or reject the application based on the material placed before it. Earlier, in many cases, corporate debtors argued that although there was some delay in payment, they were financially sound, had sufficient assets, and were capable of paying the debt. They contended that the tribunal should examine whether they are actually unable to pay before admitting the application. This created confusion as to whether NCLT should conduct a detailed inquiry into the company's financial health or simply verify the existence of debt and default. Earlier, there were arguments in various cases that tribunals should also examine whether the company is commercially insolvent, means whether it is genuinely unable to pay its debts. But this recent Supreme Court ruling brings clarity. What did the Supreme Court say? The court clarified the following points. Number one, at the admission stage, the role of National Company Law Tribunal is limited and summary in nature. The NCLT only needs to verify whether a debt exists or a default has occurred. The tribunal is not required to conduct a detailed examination of the company's overall financial health, its balance sheet strength, or its ability to repay the debt. The trigger under the IBC is default, not proof of commercial insolvency. Once default is established, the insolvency process can be initiated. Why is this important? The ruling is significant because it prevents unnecessary delays at the admission stage. It ensures faster initiation of insolvency proceedings. It limits the scope of NCLT to a summary verification process rather than a detailed financial investigation. The insolvency framework is designed to be time-bound, and this judgment reinforces that objective. Impact on companies and creditors. For creditors, this judgment makes their position stronger. Once it is proved that a debt exists and there is a default, insolvency proceedings can start without long arguments about the company's financial condition. This helps avoid delays and ensure a faster process. For companies, the ruling means they cannot stop insolvency proceedings just by saying they are financially strong or capable of paying. The only important question is whether a debt exists and whether the payment was defaulted. Conclusion: this ruling makes the insolvency admission process simpler and clearer. It confirms that the main trigger is default in payment, not a detailed check of whether the company is financially weak. Overall, it helps make India's insolvency system faster, more predictable, and more supportive of creditors. This is CA and IP Praveen Agrawal thanking you for watching. I hope this presentation will be helpful. Please subscribe to the channel for more such business related videos. Thank you.